Suling. Look, I can't see. And alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد. Come to the fifth nullifier of the book, the Nawaqid of Islam, and this nullifier, like all of them, are really important, but this one in particular, it touches a lot of people, and we have to be very careful of it, very careful about it. You hear me text? The Imam rahimahullah ta'ala wa alaykum salam, he said, من أبغض شيء مما جاء به الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم ولو عمل به فقد كفر. This is tremendously important for our sisters who are upstairs, for everybody. The fifth thing that will take you outside of the fold of Al-Islam, he said, is for a person to hate something from that which Rasulullah brought sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He doesn't like it, he detests it, and even if he were to work by that thing, he were to do that thing, but he hates it. He does it with al-kirahiyya. It's makruh. He doesn't like doing it. Even if he does that thing, but he hates it in his heart, she hates it in her heart and her spirit and her mind, you go outside the fold of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. This particular nullifier has a lot of proofs connected to it that distinguishes the believers from the disbelievers. Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا تَعْسًا لَهُمْ وأضل أعمالهم ذلك بأنهم كرهوا ما أنزل الله فأحبط أعمالهم. Those people who disbelieve, تعسا لهم. تعسا لهم, it means like woe unto them. They're going to be destroyed. It's one of the things in the Arabic language. We don't have the equivalent as such in English. Like, you shouldn't say to your parents, oof, oof. You don't necessarily have to say oof. You can say, ah, all the same. Ta'asalahum, it means woe unto them, those who disbelieve, and their deeds have gone astray, their actions. And that is because they hate and they dislike that which Allah has revealed. So that's the shahid, that's the point. That is the wajh of the istidlal. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَرِهُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ. They hate that which Allah has revealed. That's one dalil. Another one is the statement of Allah Ta'ala, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في صدورهم حرج مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. Allah swore by himself only in 2 ayahs of the Quran. Only 2. He swore by the creation, the shams, the qamar, the earth. He swore by the asr time, wal asr, wal duha. He swore by many things, but he only swore by himself in 2 ayahs of the Quran, showing the importance of these 2 things. And this is one of those ayahs. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah said, I swear by your Lord, by Allah, they do not believe until they choose you, Ya Muhammad, to judge between them and the issues that they have amongst themselves. And after you render your judgment, they don't have any problems in their heart with what your judgment was. And they totally, absolutely submit. So if Rasulullah, his sunnah, were to judge between two people, the Quran, we bring it as a judge between two people, and the judgment comes down and the person says, I don't like that ruling that Islam gave. The lady wants to get alimony. She goes to the non-Muslims for alimony. We say, that's not in your religion, our religion. He has to take care of your children if you have children. But if you get divorced for him, you're done. You have no right and no access to the money that he made and so forth. She doesn't like it. For an example. So we have to cause the tahkeem of Allah and his messenger. Another deal. From those adillah, and there are many, Allah Ta'ala told the companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, separating them from the disbelievers, kutiba alaykum al-qitalu wa huwa kurhun lakum wa asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum wa asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrun lakum wallahu a'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Fighting in jihad has been made obligatory upon you. And some of you hate it. The munafiqeen, you don't want to fight. You don't want to lose your life. You don't want to go from point A and travel 300 miles away to fight. Maybe you'll come back, maybe you won't come back. Fighting has been prescribed upon you, and yet it is hated by you. But it may be you hate something, jihad, fasting, Hajj and its difficulty, hijab. You may hate it, but it's better for you. And it may be that you may love something that is bad for you. You don't know, but Allah knows. You don't know, but Allah knows. As a believer, the believer is the one who submits because he doesn't know all of the angles of the benefits of halal and haram. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not. You just got to give it the program. So Allah described the believer in all those ayahs that we've been mentioning many times. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. It is not acceptable for the believing man or the believing woman, if Allah or his messenger decide something, for you to have any choice after that. You just got to give it the program. There are many ayahs of the Quran like that. لما كان قول المؤمنين إذا دعوا إلى الله ورسوله ليحكم بينهم أن يقولوا سمعنا وأطعنا. Verily, the true believers are those people when they are invited, come to what Allah has revealed. Let the Quran and the religion, Quran and Sunnah, judge between you and me. The believer comes, he says, we hear and we obey. The munafiq, the hypocrite, the kafir, if it's for him, he'll come. If it's not for him, he ain't coming. So there are a number of adillah from the book of Allah Azza wa Jalla that establishes this. Hadith, whoever loves for Allah and he hates for Allah. We love what Allah loves, we hate what Allah hates. Allah loves everything that he legislated for the people. He hates what was not legislated for them, and it goes against the religion. He mentioned فَقَدْ اسْتَكْمَلَ إِيمَانُهُ. The one who does that, his iman is complete. So if a Muslim, that's the meaning of a Muslim, to make Islam, to submit. There's not a single person in here except that we have issues we have to make jihad enough against concerning our weaknesses and our shortcomings. No one's perfect. No one here is perfect. No sheikh walking on the face of the earth, past or present, except that he has this perpetual internal struggle to fight against the nafs. So this issue, whoever hates something that Allah's Rasul brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he doesn't give it the program, and he hates that thing, you go outside the fold of the deen of Allah. I give you some examples of that. And we have sisters upstairs. Plural marriage, a ta'addud. If a lady hates plural marriage, she becomes a kafira, because it's what Allah revealed. Her husband wants to slide into second base or third base or whatever the issue is. She hates it. With some people amongst our ummah, Arabs, and other than that, some places like in Africa, people are more easier with this. But you'll find, and I don't want to say all Arabs, but it's prevalent. The Arabs of the past, the original Arabs, they had a ta'addud. The Arabs of today are like Europeans in this. Europeans. So the lady hates a ta'addud. The way she hates death, karahiyatul maut. No one likes death. No one. Some people hate the idea. If she's like that, this will put us outside of the fold of Islam. So let me make it very clear. She can hate the idea of her husband. I don't want you to get another wife, because I look at you and the way your shades and your glasses are and your hair and everything like that. I don't want any other bent to share with me and what I have. I don't like the idea for you to do it, but she has no problem with ta'addud. She knows it's from Islam. She accepts it. She's embracing it. No problem. I just don't want it for me. And she says, if you do that, I want a divorce. Don't you come and say, you're outside of the religion of Islam. She doesn't hate plural marriage. She hates what she's seen, how it's being practiced, and she doesn't want that for her life. The confusion and the problems, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want it for herself. But the ta'addud itself, she has no problem with that. That's one of the examples. Slavery in Islam. African Americans, our people, our ancestors, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. They went through this slavery that these Europeans and these Americans put us through. And I say, like Allah said in that the ayat, those people who disbelieve, ta'asan lahum. Woe unto them. I say to these people, ta'asan lakum. Democracy and justice. You serious? What you did to people? That's civilized? But anyway, slavery is in Islam. It has its rules and its regulations, its time and the way you do it. So someone says, I'm a Muslim, but I don't like this issue of slavery in Islam because I'm looking at it through the prism of what my ancestors went through. And that, brother, you go outside of Islam. Slavery, the Islamic slavery, particular time and place and the way it's done, from the religion. You gotta give it the program. Am I encouraging someone to go make a slave? I'm not encouraging that. No, I'm not saying this is time to have slaves, but this is what happened before. And I know there are some African-American Muslims don't have a lot of knowledge. It's emotional. When they hear me saying something like this, they say, this guy lost his mind. He thinks he's an Arab. I ain't no damn Arab. I ain't no Arab. Slavery is from Islam. We take Islam from Alif to Ya, everything in between. So you can't dislike anything from what the Prophet brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is it for you? That's a different issue. What is the reality of what happened? How is it done? Maybe you don't like the way it's being done, but the institution itself, don't be like that. And there are many, many examples. We don't want to go through all of those examples. When we perform Hajj, those of you who have not performed Hajj yet, you have to buy into Hajj is difficult, brother. That smartphone that you can use to number the amount of steps that you take doing Hajj, you come home after Hajj, you need a week, 2 weeks to recuperate. It is tough. So when a person goes for Hajj, He's supposed to do this and then go there and then go there and then go there. His nafs, because he has to make jihad of the nafs, he says, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go from here and I'm going to go there, and I'm not doing that. I'm not staying in Mina. I'm going back to my hotel in Mecca because I hate the idea of going there. I'm not going to Muzdalifah. I hate it. That stuff will take you outside of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Whoever loves what Allah loves, hates what Allah hates. You know the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, none of you truly believes until you love me more than everybody else, your mother, your father, your son, everybody else. Umar will say, Ya Rasulullah, I love you more than everybody except myself. He said, you're not a true believer. Umar said, I love you more than myself. He said, now, Umar, now you're a true believer. That is what it is to be a Muslim. Pick up that book, you read that book, and we have to bring ourselves to that place where if you're finding trouble with dealing with something, then you have to say it. It's not the institution or this aspect of Islam that's the problem. The problem is me rising up to the occasion to meet this thing and to embrace it. So that's what today's point is all about. Now, this is very important, especially for you brothers who are writing. You don't have to write the nullifier because you can always go and find the nullifier. But you have to write this. There are two conditions that make the person a non-Muslim. If he hates something that Rasulullah brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these conditions have to be there. You cannot come and say to someone, you're outside the fold of Islam because you hate what Allah brought. You can't do that. You hate what Rasulullah, you can't do that. He goes outside of the religion, she goes outside of the religion if two conditions are present. First condition is they hate that thing and they have knowledge about what they're doing. They know the ramifications of what they are saying, the implication of what they're saying. If they're ignorant, they're ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. This sister's a new Muslim. She just came out of Jahiliyyah and she doesn't know anything about plural marriage. It seems to her is girlfriend or boyfriend. She got another girlfriend. You have it. That's how it doesn't count there. It doesn't count there. The fact that the husband, he has the right, as he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you're going, your husband he wants to have relationships with you, you should comply. Today, even today, some of these people will hear my statements right now, some of these kuffar, who they think they can blow on us, and we apologize about our religion. We say, we challenge you. Come, let us talk about it. Come and talk about our religion and let us debate it. Don't write in the media and the newspapers like cowards and you're throwing stones from behind somewhere. You're shooting things from far away. Come and let us deal with it, whether it's Christmas or other than that. If someone says Christianity as it is paganism, that's not to put non-Muslims down and say you're a pagan. Come and prove to us without cursing and being nasty and disrespectful, and you're supposed to believe in Isa ibn Maryam, and you send us nasty messages and you're cursing and you're threatening our community. Where's that with Isa ibn Maryam? You're just a racist and a white supremacist in most instances. That's all you are. Come in and let's discuss it. We'll explain it to you. So if the person has knowledge of what he's doing, you're outside of the fold of Islam. This is critical, Ikhwani, because it's not only in this, but it's in other issues. The person doesn't become an innovator if he does something and he doesn't have knowledge. Can't say he's a mubtadi if he doesn't know. Allah Ta'ala mentions sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the Quran, وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى ويتبع غير سبيل المؤمنين وله ما تولى نصلي جهنم وساءت مصيرا. Anyone who opposes the messenger of Allah and what he brought. Anyone who opposes what he brought and he fights against them after the knowledge comes to him. After knowledge, he's in opposition. Then we will lead him to that which he wants, the hellfire. And what a terrible punishment that is. So it has to be knowledge in the equation. He mentions sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ma amana bi man bata shab'an wa jaruhu ila jambihi ja'in wa huwa ya'lam. The person who goes to sleep at night and he has a full stomach and he's content, he doesn't truly believe in me if his neighbor next door, his neighbor goes to sleep and his neighbor's hungry and he knows about it. Now, if he doesn't know about it, he's not responsible for it. So there is a Muslim right now, a Muslim sister. She got off of work. She's trying to get home. Her car broke down on Hogmore Road, Hoglin Road. Afwan, not Hogmore. Hoglin and 192. And she's been out there since Asr time. We don't know about that. We're not responsible for that. We don't know about that. But if an individual drives by her and finds out her situation and doesn't render her any support, doesn't call anyone, doesn't get out and help her, and he leaves, we say, none of you truly believes you love for your brother what you love for yourself. You leaving her like that and you have knowledge, you have a problem with your iman. You got knowledge. We don't have knowledge about that. So if you go to bed and you're full, but your Muslim neighbor is hungry, and you know about that, you don't believe in what Prophet Muhammad brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Complete iman. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. That's the first condition. The second condition, and this is important, is if someone hates something that Prophet Muhammad brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it has to be consensus, ijma', between all of the scholars, between the ummah. Every Muslim has to know it's not permissible to hate that thing. But if a person hates something that has ikhtilaf, some of the scholars said this about that thing, and some of the scholars said that about that thing, and he doesn't like it. She doesn't like it. You can't say they go outside of al-Islam because it's ikhtilaf. And there are many things like that. Many. For an example, raf'u al-yadayn. Some Muslims don't do raf'u al-yadayn. They don't do it. And you hate that they don't do raf'u al-yadayn and Rasulullah brought that and you say, you go outside of al-Islam. No. Some scholars said you don't have to do raf'u al-yadayn, although that position is marjuh. It's the weaker opinion. Eating alligators. Some of us ain't going to eat no alligators, man, because we come from a background, we are not eating alligators. We're not going to eat alligators. Some of the scholars said alligators are haram because they have those teeth and they are animals that bite you and eat you when they hunt. And some of the scholars said, no, it is an animal from the water. So as long as he lives in the water, you can eat alligators. The Hanafi madhab, you can't eat shrimp, you can't eat lobsters, you can't eat those crustaceans because they say they are from those things that eat the dirt and the algae and the fungus of the bottom of the ocean. And Islam is pure. Islam is pure. And that stuff is dirty. They have that opinion. That's the weakest opinion. Because the Prophet said about the water of the ocean, huwa tuhur ma'uhu al-hillu maytatuhu. The water of the ocean is pure. It's a purified, it's pure. You can make wudu for it. From it, you can cook it, you can drink it, although it has a smell and it has salt in it and the taste. And he said the dead of the ocean are halal. So if the alligator or whatever is in the water is permissible. Someone says, a'udhu billah, alligators? And you say you're not Muslim. No, because it's ikhtilaf in the issue. So those are the two conditions. You got to remember that. Knowledge He knows what he's doing. And number two, the issue is that the person is hating something that there's ikhtilaf in. There's a really important book. As I told you, the scholars of Islam, they took Sahih al-Bukhari and they explained everything in the meaning of the hadith, in the chain of narrations, in the men. The scholars didn't leave anything in our religion unturned. This knowledge of al-ijma', how does something become halal or haram? The Quran makes it halal or haram. The Sunnah makes it halal or haram. The qisas, the qiyas makes it halal or haram. And ijma', all of the Muslims agree to that. It becomes halal or haram, and that's a dalil. One of the great scholars of Islam, Abu Hassan Ibn al-Qattan, he has a book called Al-Iqna' fi Masail al-Ijma'. It is one of those books that any student of knowledge who knows Arabic, he has to have that in his library if he's worth his weight in salt. And there are other books about al-Ijma', but this is the best one. Because the other books, a lot of times you'll find scholars and people will say, there's ijma' in this, and there's not ijma'. There's no ijma'. It's ikhtilaf. How do you know that the ulama makhtalafu? They had differences of opinion concerning that particular thing. So concerning this issue today, it's not difficult, not complicated. From the nawaqid of al-Islam is hating something, anything that the Prophet brought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if we look at our communities, we'll see the rich people or people who have power and money in the community, they sometimes want special privileges. And the miskeen one from amongst the community, he doesn't have special privileges. So he hates the fact that the miskeen is giving rights over him or similar to him. It's something that if you're like that, you go outside of the fold of Islam if you know what you're doing, with knowledge. So it's not a complicated bab. So for all of us, what we want to walk away with today, and the simple topic today, inshallah, is don't hate anything from the religion. The niqab. The girl, she doesn't want to wear niqab. She can't breathe in that niqab. She's in Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia, she's in Florida. It is hot. She already has problems. She can't breathe. She marries a young brother, whippersnapper. He got a whip. He's a whippersnapper. He marries her. He says, put that niqab on. And she goes, shh, oh boy. And she doesn't like wearing it. She hates it because she can't breathe in it. People are looking at her. All of her relatives are ostracizing her. They don't like the idea of it. She doesn't like the pressure of it. And she's a good sister. Her hijab is perfect. Ma'ada, except that niqab. He wants her to wear niqab and gloves in the middle of May, June, July, here in Kissimmee in Florida. And she doesn't want it. She doesn't like it. We don't say she goes outside the religion. Because a niqab, to some scholars, is not wajib. Now, as for us, hating certain things that the religion is telling us to do that, like from the qadr of Allah, that doesn't take you outside of Islam. He hates the day he married his wife. He wish he never married her. I wish I never had a kid with this lady. And she feels the same way. He allows his mother-in-law to come and visit him for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for the summer. He says, I hate that she even came. You don't say you hate something that the Prophet brought, which was be good to your mother-in-law, be good to your wife. No, they don't hate the hukum. They don't hate the hukum, the rule, but they hate what has happened, that they invested in that business, that they took that person as a friend. So don't get it mixed up. Don't get it mixed up and be one of those people who make free wholesale takfir or tabdi' on people because of something. Yeah, there's some truth to what you're saying, but you're not understanding it the right way. You're not understanding it the right way. Beware of putting people outside of the religion of Islam. And that's why the books of the Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab, they have to be explained, because the takfiri, people make takfir, they use his book more than anybody else. They make takfir of the Muslims. And this is one of the criticisms that people have about the Sheikh himself. Beware of listening to Daniel Hakikich too. Daniel Hakikich too has issues. We thought he was going to stay in his lane. We thought that the brother was going to deal with perennialism. He was going to deal with, as an academic, he was going to deal with our, what do you call that? Women's right? What do you call that? Feminism. That's his thing. And we recognize that. Stay in your lane, brother. But now you're starting talking about Tawheed and Istighaf and things like that. Nah, you was hiding that stuff. I don't like mentioning names, and I'm not into this thing that these brothers always fighting each other. Our brother Uthman Farouk and our brothers always fight. I ain't got time for that. We're trying to build one nation under a groove right here. You guys know anything about one nation under a groove? That's what we ain't got time trying to put our hat in the fray of arguing these brothers, Salafis and other than them, just arguing. We're trying to build a nation, and we have a responsibility to do our best not to, get sidestepped and distracted. So that's today's naqat from the 10 nawaqat that we're going to deal with, my brothers. If you brothers have any questions about this, you can put your question forward, inshallah. If I made any mistake in terms of what was said or whatever, you feel free to let me know. Akhi, go ahead, baby Beck. That's a good point, actually. What about the individual who doesn't hate the thing, but there are things connected to it that he dislikes? Does he go outside the religion? No. Kalla. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about the Jannah and the Nar. He said that the Jannah is surrounded by things that people don't like. And the Nar is surrounded by things that people like. You want to go to Jannah? You have to get up early in the morning, man, and make wudu and pray. You want to go to Jannah? You have to put on hijab. You want to go to Jannah? You have to be fair and just with people who despise you and people who oppress you. The person doesn't hate the prayer. He hates the fact that some of the brothers in our community right now have told me and confided in me and said, when I was younger, my father used to put pressure on me concerning the prayer and stuff like that. And the way my parents were dealing with it was they made me dislike this thing. It wasn't the salat that I didn't like, but it was the way it was brought to me and the way it was put on me. I'm married to a man. It's not that I hate marriage and nikah. I know a sister right now in our community in Orlando. She doesn't hate marriage, but she went through as a young sister a marriage with a psychopath. And as a result of being with the psychopath, she ain't getting married again. At this point in her life, she doesn't hate nikah. She hates what happened to her, and she's not going to let that happen again. And there's a man who did the same thing. His ex-wife put his head in the vice grips and kept putting it out until his head popped open. He said, I'm not marrying anyone. No matter how you talk to you blue in the face, you tell her, that was that. Learn from that. Allah has made someone for you. They said, Wallahi, I'm not getting married again. There was a companion who said that. After she asked Rasulullah, what's the right of the husband over the wife? He told her, and it was big. She said, Wallahi, I'm never getting married again. She said, I'll never get married. She didn't want to deal with that. Someone is over me with those kind of rights. She said, I'm not going to get married. So if the individual doesn't hate the institution or the thing that Allah revealed, and this doesn't apply to them, like the issue of fighting. Fighting is prescribed for you and you hate it. Well, there were some companions and there could be some people who the idea of going far and this high, they don't like that idea. But the jihad itself, you come here and we'll fight you. They don't have a problem with that. But I have to go through all of this. They don't hate that it's wajib. They hate the fact that it's difficulty in doing that thing. Any more questions, Ikhwani? تفضل. That the situation, what does it mean that they have knowledge about it? It means just that, the opposite of jahil. He doesn't know the ramifications of what he's doing. He doesn't know. You tell him, for an example, you should eat with your right hand because shaitan eats with his left hand. And the way he looks at shaitan and the jinn is different than the way you look at it. He believes that the jinn are the evil thoughts in his mind. That's what he thinks jinn are. He thinks shaitan is that. And he thinks that the angels, he doesn't believe in the angels the way you believe. He believes the angels are the good thoughts that he has because he's ignorant. It's explained to him the ramifications, the implications of what he's saying. No, brother, the jinn of this and the malaika. When you tell him shaitan eats with his left, he says, you mean to tell me shaitan has a left hand? Do you really believe that? Shaitan, are you telling me that when you go into the mat in the toilet, akramakumullah, you make that dua to seek refuge in Allah from the female jinn and from the male jinn, you believe that there are jinn in there? He doesn't know. What he's saying, he really doesn't know. He really doesn't know. He really believes that his sheikh has all of these answers and stuff like that. You know, people have a tasawwuf and things like that. A lot of times they don't know. They just don't know. The Shiite that you see on the social media, the stuff that they're doing, some of those people just don't. When we look at that, we look at what they're doing, we say, wow, how do you do that? Because Allah has blessed you not to fall into that. As for them, they grew up on that. So someone has to make the thing clear to them, clear, very, very, very clear. And then we pass the judgment of kufr on the person after the iqamat al-hujjah. We just do 2 more questions and that's it, we're out. اتفضل يا شيخ نزير. Concerning the hadith, none of you truly believes if you go to bed hungry and your neighbor goes to bed, you go to bed full at night and your neighbor is hungry and you know about it. The hadith didn't mention Muslim or non-Muslim. Muslim or non-Muslim. So what about the non-Muslims? I'll ask the rhetorical question. أَفَنَجْعَلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ? Do we make the criminals, the believers, like the criminals who make shirk and kufr? Are we going to make them equal? Those who believe and have iman and they fast and they believe in Allah and the Yawm al-Qiyam and they believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they believe about the hudud of al-Islam. Are we going to make those 2 groups equal? They're not equal. They're not equal. The Muslim is responsible for his Muslim brother. He's responsible for his Muslim brother. So this hadith is talking about his Muslim brother. Last question. What's the name of the book? The book is called Al-Iqna' fi Masail Al-Ijma' by the scholar Abu al-Hasan Ali ibn Qattan. He's known as Ibn Qattan, like Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahu Allahu tabarak ta'ala. You gonna get that book, Texas? You gonna get that book? Right, brother? All right. Okay, Ikhwani, we're going to stop now, inshallah. There was something else I wanted to mention to you about something, but I can't think about it. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.